but it was 10 years ago, so it was like we were the first program, the first pluridisciplinary program in France, because at the time it was really weird to put together students from different fields to work with companies. So that went very well. Companies loved all the ideas that the students give it to them. And students love the methodology because we work with design thinking, agile methodologies, all these methodologies that now everybody use. We were the first company that bring that to France. So everybody was really happy with these new ways of working. We continue growing. At the beginning, I was the first employee, and now we are more than 200 people. 2 years ago, I lived to San Francisco to open the office in San Francisco. So now in San Francisco, we work with a lot of universities and big companies there. So it's also working pretty well. I'm specialized. My undergrad degree was in social science. So I'm specialized in customers interview, customer finding, problem solving, all these sociological and anthropological methodology helps me to understand better the consumer and know really what they want. So I imagine that you already have classes where the teachers tell you that the most important is that that you need to know what the clients need, the clients need. And I'm specialized in this part of the process, to go and know what is the most important for the client and what they really want. So what I don't know if you have questions about me and what I did in the past, what I study. If you want to ask me something, you can do it right now, and then we will start the presentation.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can definitely just type them out in the chat box, and we can take those questions right now. If you have a question about Ana. I think, Ana, maybe we could start the presentation and get get the flow going, and then whatever questions that keep arising, I will keep letting you know.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna share my screen. I prepare a little presentation, not much text. So I prepare you a presentation. It's like a resume of all the mindset and the skills that I think a good entrepreneur need to have. So in all this year working with entrepreneurs and being an entrepreneur myself, I see that the most important thing that someone that wants to succeed in entrepreneurship or innovation or in a company, what they need is not, what they most need is not the technical skills, but the soft skills, the mindset. Because the technical skills, you can use it, you can learn it really fast. That nowadays that changed a lot. So every 6 months we have new technologies that appears, new ways to work. So the technology things, that the technical things that you learn in the university, they're gonna change in 1 or 2 years. So you need to be constantly learning the technical things. But the mindset for me is the most important. You need to learn special skills to manage success, to manage your teams, to manage your bosses if you are working in a company, your investors if you are an entrepreneur, the market. So I make a list of these different kind of mindsets that for me are essential for success in entrepreneurship, or to work in a company, or in whatever, even in a relationship, even with your family, with your friends, if you are volunteer in a no profit organization, in every step in your life, this mindset would help you. So I'm going to present you, and I give you examples, and if you don't understand, let me know. So the first thing that it's really important for an entrepreneur, it's to understand that you cannot have only one way to be or one way to think. You have to have different kind of mindset that depends on the moment of your career or the moment of your company you are. So for example, when you are starting your company, you need to be obsessed with what the customer wants. You really need to know what the customers want. You need to adapt your prototype to what your product to what your customer wants, because you need to understand what they need and what they want in order to create a product that is going to be sold. So at that moment, in the incubation and validation moment, at the beginning of the process, you need to be completely upset with that. But then, once you already have your product built, and you already know that it's fitting the customer's needs, then you need to change your mindset. Then you need to change your way of working and thinking, and start thinking about what your investors want, what they need to feel comfortable to give you money. So this is just an example of don't be too rigid, don't be too close in your mind, and don't be too straight to one thing. It's important to be upset with something and want to do it all the time a lot, but in the different time of your life and different times of your entrepreneur way, you are going to need to change your mind. So don't be too rigid, don't be too square, don't be too upset with things, because you need to evolve and change like a butterfly. Okay, so that's really important. Don't be fixed in one thing and say, no, I want like this, because you're going to need to change it. That depends on the people you have in front of you, on the for example, right now the COVID quarantine, it's a perfect example. Which kind of company are going to succeed this crisis? The companies that are ready to change their mindset and to change the product and to evolve and become something else. The only companies and people that are going to succeed, they are the ones that are going to change and become something else. So that is very, very important for entrepreneur or someone that wants to succeed in life. Traditional education versus startup mindset. I think this is really important for you guys, because you stay in the university and in the school long time. So you made undergrad, master, PhD, like the Indian education, it's really long and it's really like rigid also. So if you want to succeed and you want to be different and make a different product or a different way of work, you need to understand that that the startup mindset is not the same as the traditional education. It's the opposite. For example, the professor tell you that you need to listen and copy in your notebook and don't go to practice. That's what we are doing now in this program. That's why that's that important for you, this program. Because the most important and where you learn the most is when you practice and when you do it yourself by your own. So there is this difference between traditional education, when you are sit and your teacher is teaching you something and you just copy in the notebook, versus when you do it yourself, you make your own prototype, you go and you make your own interviews with your clients, you make everything by yourself. So it's very important to have this way of thinking, to don't stay in the traditional thing, but go by yourself and do your own thing. I have a professor in Berkeley that always told to our students, always ask for permission before do something. That's what normally in a university or in a school they will tell you. You need always to ask for permission before you do something. But in the startup mindset, you cannot do that. You need to do what you want to do and then ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness if someone tell you, no, what do you do? You cannot do this. Clear example, it's all the startups that work really well now in Silicon Valley. For example, Uber. At the beginning, Uber in all the countries where they are, that was illegal because the taxis was the ones that have the monopoly of the market. But they don't wait to ask the government to change the law and then they start to put in their solution, their product in the market. They know that it was illegal, but they put it on the market, even if it's illegal. And now there's a lot of countries, I don't know how it's in India, but there's a lot of countries that are changing the law because they are too big and too strong to fight it. So that's the perfect example of don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness before you do it, and then you see how you can change the thing. So it's like a risk taken. It's very important to take risk and don't be afraid of that. And don't be afraid, we're gonna talk about that after. But for you, it's really important to don't be afraid to be wrong, to make a mistake. It's okay. It's the only way to learn. You cannot learn if you don't make mistakes. So startup, it's an act of revolution. You're gonna, if you want to be entrepreneur, or if you want to be innovator in a big company, if you want to work in innovation inside a big company, you're gonna be a rebel. You need to know that, and you need to be prepared to fight against the normality, because you are gonna challenge all the things that are already established. For example, an example is, for example, the fintech. The fintech is the financial technology. All these new startups, I know that some of you are working in these new startups that wants to change the loan process, that wants to change to not use a credit card, but use the phone. All these new technologies, for example, for the banks, at the beginning, they were rebels. They were going against all the financial structure that was working for hundreds of years. So at the beginning, it was really difficult. And everybody told them, you are crazy, this is not possible, you are gonna fail, this is the most crazy thing that you can imagine in the world. The banks will never let you do this. And at the beginning, the banks try to don't let them do it. But then when they see how success they are, they start partnership with them, because they know that the banks know that if they don't continue evolving and continue working with these new startups that are popping up, they're gonna die. So you need to be prepared to stay strong during the time where everybody told you that you are crazy and you are a rebel and you are doing something really wrong, because you are going against all the structures, the governments, the big companies, everything that is already well established. They don't want you there. So be prepared of this. And that it's the same in a big company. If you want to manage innovator programs, to launch a new project or new program in the company, everybody's gonna tell you that you are crazy and that it is a very, very bad idea. So be prepared to be a rebel. You need to have this mindset of, I don't care and I know what I'm doing. Even if everybody told me that I'm crazy, I'm gonna continue, and then I'm gonna show them that it's not a crazy idea, but a really good idea. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. So the only thing that makes that a little startup or a little innovation program in a big company works is that they are fast and agile. That's the only way. because the people you have in front of you, they have a lot of money, the big companies, they have a lot of money, they have a lot of resource, they are enormous, and they have a lot of friends in the government and in the other companies. So the only way you can win the battle is to be really agile, really fast, and really small. So keep small teams, teams where you feel really comfortable with them. Be really agile, so be ready to pivot and change your prototype, change your product, change everything, because that kind of change is the thing that make you succeed, because big companies cannot do that because they are too heavy and too expensive and too big. So for a big company to change and modify and prototype and iterate is really, really hard. But if you are small and agile, then you're gonna win this battle. You need to have a smart idea and do it quickly, really quickly, faster than a big company can do it. That's the secret of how you can win the battle against a big company, and how you can create a product that is gonna disturb a market where the big companies are the monopoly. Okay? Decision-making, risk-taking. This is very important for you, because my experience with my students in this program is that they are afraid of being wrong. They are afraid to make a mistake, and they prefer to don't do anything, to don't give the assignment, or don't participate in a meeting with the company mentors, than they prefer to don't do it than to have a mistake or do it wrong. So this is very, very bad, very, very, very bad. You need to change this mindset. It's very, very important for you to don't be afraid of making mistakes and being wrong, because we all make mistakes all day. And mistakes are really important because it's the only way you can learn how to do it well. If you don't make a mistake, then you're never gonna learn how to do it. First you do it wrong, and the second time you do it well. So don't be afraid, because nobody is gonna judge you, because we all been there once. I make mistakes every day. Every day I make a mistake. Every day I make something wrong. And the only thing that makes this mistake difficult is my mindset, because I don't accept that it's okay to be wrong, and that if I do it again, everybody will be okay with that, and I'm gonna learn something, and next time I'm gonna do it very well. So all the things that I learned in this life, the most important was because at the first I do it wrong, and then I learn, and then I'm doing really, really well now. So everybody does that. So don't be afraid. You need to have like a fast decision making. So you need to learn how to make decisions fast. And the principal things to make decisions fast is to don't be afraid to make mistakes, to be wrong, because sometimes you don't want to be wrong, so you don't want to take the decision because you are afraid of what's gonna happen after. And that's the number one problem in a startup. If you don't make decisions of changing, of iterating, of modifying your prototype, of change your market sector segment, of change the sector where you are working, you need to change it fast, and don't be afraid if you are wrong. You can change again. That's really, really important for you guys. The power of perspective. So this one is most getting in detail. So for example, as the slides show, for some people, being in the middle of the mountain alone, it's hell, but for other people, it's like the perfect holiday. Camping is the perfect holiday for someone. and it's hell for others. For me, it's perfect. I love that. For me, it's heaven. But there's other people where being in a cross in the boat, it's a hell for me. That's the case. I hate to be with a lot of people and like close in some place that it's not environmental friendly. But for other people, it's like perfect and they love it. So that's all depends. It's all about perspective, how you see things, how you visualize things, how you imagine things. So in the workspace, in the startups or in the companies, it's really important that you understand the perspective of all your stakeholders. You need to understand how your boss visualize the project. Did your boss want he or she likes to go to holidays in the camping or in a resort all inclusive? You need to understand the way they think, what they want, what they need. So in that order, you're gonna be capable to present your project and to adapt your project for all the needs and all the expectations. That's really important, because once again, if you stay in your little square and you say, no, I want my project like this, like this, like this, it's like this that it needs to work, I want to do it like this, like this, like this, and you don't take all the perspective of different people, then that's going to be a problem, because you are going to be unable to convince them to help you. Did you understand this? So it's like in Colombia, we say that being in the shoes of someone else. So you need to be in the shoes of all the stakeholders of your project, your boss or your investors, your clients, of course, your co-founders, if you have co-founders, if your colleagues, if you have colleagues. You need to really understand why they want, their motivations, why the view that they have for the project, everything. And once you understand every stakeholder, then you can really convince everybody to work together to make this project a success. So it's very important this, to don't stay in your idea, close in your way of thinking, and what do I want? I want this, and go straight to there and don't think about the rest. No, you need to have everybody involved and see the perspective of everybody. I hope it's clear. Okay, this is more about like convince and how we can convince people, how we can pitch our idea. So this is also important for you, I think, because with my students, I see that sometimes during the mentor, with the company mentors meetings, sometimes you don't want to talk because you are afraid and you don't want to show them your point of view or to explain them what do you think. It's really important to talk and share your ideas and share your point of view. That's one of the most important things, because if you don't show your product, if you don't show your idea, nobody's gonna know that it's there, and nobody's gonna buy it, and nobody's gonna help you to develop it. So startup is a powerful story waiting to be told. You need to have a strong product, but you also need to know how to sell it and how to present it to the audience, how to convince your boss to do this, convince your investor, convince your market, convince your co-workers, everybody. You need to be the ambassador of your product, because if you don't do it, the product cannot do it by themselves. Even if it's a super nice product, if you don't show to the rest of the world your product, nobody's gonna use it, or nobody's gonna buy it. So it's very, very important. Nowadays, the prototype is really important also. So 5 or 7 years ago, the pitch was everything for the investors. So that's what the time where Airbnb, Uber, WeWork, all these big companies in Silicon Valley start to and find funding. they start and they found funding only with a pitch. The prototype was really, really mediocre. But then the venture capitalists start to demand, to ask for really strong prototypes that really works and that already have some clients. So the most important, if you want to share your idea, it's to have a powerful story and a good prototype that works. This, I don't know if you have this issue. I know, for example, Colombian French French students, they have a lot this problem, is that they are not confident about who they have in front of them, and they are afraid of what's gonna happen with this guy or this girl. They think they are more enemies than friends. So sometimes they don't share their ideas, the ideas. They don't show to some people their products because they are afraid that these people stole the idea or do it by themselves. So this is a very French mindset that maybe you also have it. I don't know. I don't know you that well. But sometimes people are afraid of other people and they don't want to do networking. They don't want to talk with other people. They don't want to present their prototype to other people because they think their people are enemies. So they never arrive to succeed because they don't have the network they need to do it. In Silicon Valley, is the most, it's amazing how networking is important, because there are people that have a lot of money and a lot of power, a lot of way to make succeed people, and you can find them everywhere. In the Uber when you are coming back home, in a meeting, in the metro, everywhere you can find people that can help you with your product or your idea. So it's very important to be ready to present your idea, and we're ready to make new friends and let them get in your comfort zone and start working with them really quickly. So don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid to make new friends, to go to networking events, to know people, because it's really important for you to develop this networking environment. Ooh, I don't know what's happening. I have lines in my, okay, but it's okay. So don't be afraid of that, okay? Try to know the more people you can, even if you are working in a company. That's also very important, because if you want to be able to do this, to know the perspective of everybody, you need to be able to do this first, because you need to be ready to know others. If you don't talk enough to your boss, if you don't talk enough to your venture capitalists, to your colleagues, you are not going to know what they think and how you can convince them to do or help you with your project or your idea. So you need to don't be afraid to go and speak with people. You never know where is the person that it's going to help you and it's going to change your destiny. Okay, this one. So it's adapt and learn from failure. It's the same that I was telling you before, that it's really important for you to know that the way to success is not that the image in the left. It's not like just, yeah, I want to be a success person and I just go and everything is gonna be okay. No, success is more like the right image. You need to do a lot of bad things. You need to iterate a lot. You need to suffer, and you need to accept that you are not perfect before you succeed. because you are gonna learn about all these turning things that you are seeing here. So don't be afraid, once again, of failure. It's okay, okay? If it's not work, it's okay, you're gonna do it again. Diversity, it's an act of survival. So this is really important, because it's not because I'm woman and I'm from Latin America that I put this slide. Is because it's really important to be in diverse teams, to work with different people. So in France, when we were starting hiring, we figured out that it's more easy to have teams that where people, they are all similar and they all look the same. If you have 10 men engineers, French male engineers that work together, they can work really well and they can go really fast because they all think the same. They think that the idea of the other one, it's wonderful because it's the same idea that they have, that everybody have. But then when you build a product, when this team build a product, and then the product go to the market, then you see that, there's a problem, because in the market, there are not only males, white engineers. There are people from all kind of people. So you need to have diverse teams if you want to build product for the world, because the world is diverse. In the world, there are women and males. There are white, yellow, orange, and black people. There are people from all ages. There are people from all fields. So if you want to build a product that fits the market, you need to create this product with a diverse team that thinks differently, even if the process is harder, because I know that it's harder. If you include people from different fields, women, men, and different cultures and everything, during the time they are making the product, it's gonna be more hard because they're gonna need to consent, and there's gonna need to be a lot of communication to have everybody agree in the same page. But then when the product get out to the market, well, then it's a product that it's built for everybody, and that takes the opinion and the ways of thinking to a lot of different people. So that's very important, not just to be what's the name, like diversity friendly, and to say that I'm a company that hire Colombian women, so I'm good. No, it's not only because that's very important for society, of course, and we need to change, and we need to give a space to people that are different. But if you want to be just a market and business centered, it's also a good business to have a different diversity team. So that's very important. Perfection is the enemy of good. I think this one is also important for you, because my teams, at least, they want to do it so perfect that they prefer to don't do anything than to do something that is not gonna be perfect. So you just do your thing. Even if it's not perfect, do your thing. You just need to do it good, because perfection is the enemy. I know my husband is musician, and he has a lot of friends that are super talented. They are really, really good musicians, but they want to build the perfect record. They want to have the perfect voice, the perfect instruments, the perfect recording, everything perfect. And what happens is that they spend 7 years, I'm not joking, 7 years doing a record. And then at the end, they say, no, it's not that perfect. I'm not gonna show this to the market. I'm not gonna put this in Spotify because it's not that perfect. So they spend 7 years working in something that they never bring to the market. So perfection, it's a very big enemy. If you want to go fast, as I told you, in the slide to go fast, like be really agile and fast. You cannot be perfect. You just need to do the things good enough to the market. So maybe this is weird for you, but it's true. Don't wait to have the perfect thing. Good is enough. Then you can iterate, then you can do it better way after, then you can start to be specialized in something. But at the beginning, just do your thing and show to the people what you are doing, in order you can validate if it's okay or not, if fix the market or not, if the prototype is too expensive or not. You need to validate fast. Don't stay in perfection, okay? Pay it forward. So this is very important for Ingenious Faces and me, because I have students that they were my students 5, 7, 8 years ago, and now they are really success. They have big companies. They are super good, well entrepreneurs. And now that, and I helped them in the beginning when they were starting. And now when I call them and I tell them, hi, can you please come and talk to my students to inspire them and give them some advices and help them, they always tell me yes, because I teach them to pay it forward. So don't forget me. Don't forget Approve and Ingenious Faces. And keep this contact with the young people that are starting, with the students that are in the beginning of their career. Don't forget that once you were there, that once it was hard for you to give the assignment to your mentor. Don't forget that. It's very important to stay real and be ready to pay forward the community, the university, your network, your mentors, your coaches. It's very important to get connected and to bring to others what they give you once. Because it's the only way the youngers are gonna learn. If there's not succeed people that come and teach to young students what they did it, it's not possible to learn new things. So pay it forward. Don't forget, in 5, 7, 8 years, when you are gonna be serial entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, directors, CEOs of a big company in India, or directors of innovation of one Silicon Valley company, don't forget us and come and pay it forward. Okay, that's really important. And for finish the presentation, it's maybe it's gonna maybe you're gonna think that it's really like idealist and all things, but this slide is very important, because if you don't believe you can change the world, anybody is gonna believe you. You understand me? You need to, before go and talk with someone, believe yourself that you are gonna succeed, that you are someone wonderful, that you are someone with a lot of skills, ready to teach, ready to learn, ready to share with the world. Before you go and you talk with someone, you need to believe you can change the world. You are enough to change the world. You have enough skills to change the world. And when I say change the world, I'm not talking about create the next Tesla, or save all the animals in Africa, or find the vaccine for coronavirus. No. You change the world of every person that you talk with. when you are an inspiring person, when you have a clear idea of what do you want to do, when you walk to the world and you share all this passion and happiness and enthusiasm, you are changing the world of every person that you know, every person that you meet in a day. So you need to be convinced that you are enough to change the world. Okay?
Thank you so much, Anna, for such an insight and to share your experiences with us. I would give 10 minutes to the students if they have any questions they want to ask you. And you can, oh, we already have a question. Prachi is asking, how can we start? How to step into the market? That's her question.
How to get in the market?
Yes. Like how can she start with her maybe her startup or whatever idea she has?
Okay, so for me, the most important is to know exactly what your clients want. So you need to fit your market. You need to go and make a lot of interviews, customer interview, to know what your clients want. That's the most important thing to start a new project, even if it's in a big company. For example, you are working in a bank and you want to create a new product for this bank, or if you want to create your own startup, the most important thing is to first of all go and see what your client needs, what they want, and how much they are ready to pay it. And the way you can do this is first with customers interview, but very quickly to create a prototype, even if it's just a sheet of paper with the idea, but you need to show something to the future client, so to the customer, in order to make them think about how they will use this product, how they can use the product. So the most important is to validate very, very, very quickly. Make prototypes and change the prototype. That depending what your client says. Like, I know I don't like it like this. Maybe I will use it like that. So be ready to change your prototype very fast. For me, that's the most important, to be sure that what you are building is what your customer needs.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for answering that question. We have another question by Ankit. He's asking, when one's in the process of creating something new, it can be a product, service, or a business process. With respect to mindset, how does he or she take a call that they're ready to launch it?
How they what? Sorry.
When someone is creating something new, it can be anything, a product or a service. With respect to mindset, specifically, how can he or she decide that they're ready to launch that product or the service?
Okay. So the co-founder of LinkedIn, she says, we were some once with her, and someone asked her this question. Someone asked her, like, when I know that my product is ready to be launched, and she said, if you think that your product is ready to be launched, it's too late. You need to launch your product even if you think that it's not perfect enough to the market, because you need to show to your clients your ideas and your prototypes in order to start changing and adapting the product to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good example, because if you see how LinkedIn works, they start with a very basic product, only to show your CV and we connect with someone. And now they are making a lot of money, and now they evolve and they change and they pivot, and their product is completely different. You can make classes, you can recruit inside, you can do business, you can they have a CRM business development part. So they are constantly evolving. So I think I like her answer because I think it's true. You need to launch your product even if you think it's not ready. Because if you think it's ready, it's too late, because there is not longer what your clients want. So you need to show the product to the clients and try to sell it even if it's not ready, because you're gonna continue iterating and making your product better all the time.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an interesting way to think about it. We have a couple more questions. Rajat is asking when does a startup go for funding? How do we do the valuation of a startup if they have to go for funding?
Okay, you need to go to funding if you need money. So there, 5-7 years ago, there were a lot of money. So the venture capitalists had a lot of money, and people, entrepreneurs, start asking for money even if they don't need it. So just because it's fun to have a lot of money for venture capitalists, and that was a mistake. Then they realized that it was a mistake, because if you ask for a lot of money very quick and your product is not ready, then you are never going to succeed, because you're going to have a lot of venture capitalists behind you asking you why we are not earning money with your startup, and you are going to be still in the phase where you don't have clients, so you are not earning money. So the quantity of money and the moment you need to raise money, that cannot be depends on the offer. So for example, I have a student that he has a very, very good project, a very good product, and he start the seed fund. So he find 2 million euros for seed. So that's a lot of money, but his technology needs a lot of engineers, and that was really expensive. So he make a budget and he say, okay, for seed, I need to develop, in order to develop my product in a good way, I need 2 million euros. So he opened the Rise, and he find $2 million. They were more venture capitalists interested in invest. And they told him, we can give you more than 2 millions. We can give you 5 millions. We can give you 6 millions. And he said, no, I only need 2 millions, and I only want 2 millions, because right now I need to develop all the technology behind my product. Now that I already validate what my clients want, I need to create this very technological product. So I only need 2 million. So then you are not gonna arise me asking me why I'm not making money. So he stays like that, and it works really well, because he starts having clients 2 or 3 years after. So don't raise money before you need it. You need to make your budget, you need to make your timeline, and see when you need this money and for what exactly. Don't receive money from a venture capitalist just because he's nice and or she wants to give you money. That's gonna be a problem after, because they're gonna go after you and ask you a lot of money and a lot of reports and why it's not working and blah 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 blah. So that can be tricky, because if your product is sexy, there are gonna be a lot of people that wanna give you money, but then these people, they are gonna ask you for a lot of reports and meetings and blah blah blah. That can make you get slower. And remember that the most important is to stay agile, fast, and small. And if you have a lot of venture capitalists behind you asking you for reports, meetings, and time, they are very, very time consuming. So if you have a small team and you want to go fast and iterate and prototyping, don't receive money that you don't need. And the first months, the better is to just keep it cheap. So if you failed, it's not a problem. So the first, I'm gonna say 6 months of the company, the best is to just have your core team, your friends, the people you really work well with them, and go really fast, iterate, show to the market your product, change it, make customers interview. And once you know that your product is elaborated enough, and that now you need money to go further, to hire more people to help you to develop your product, or to start seeking a new market, then you make a budget, you see how that will cost, and then you can ask for this money.
We have another question from Sunny. He's asking, when we talk about having people and ideas from diverse background, it might take a lot of time to come up with a solution and end up delaying the whole process of pitching and prototyping. So the question is how to decide how much to discuss and when to stop.
That's a good question. I think when you are starting your product and when you are prototyping and all this, it's not your team that have the last word, it's the market, it's your customers. You're gonna prototype what your customers want. You are gonna show to the market what your customers tell you they want. So at the end, these conversations of when we have to prototype, what we have to prototype, and all this, the person that validates this is not the CEO or the engineer that is prototyping, is the market. If you do enough customers interviews to really fit the market, then you're not going to have eternal conversations. I know that happens. I know people that spend hours and hours with their teams having conversations about when they're going to go to the market, if they're going to prototype or not. And normally, these kind of long, eternal, horrible meetings happens because they are not doing enough customers interviews, because they don't have the answer. So they are philosophizing about the answer. So every person in the team has a different point of view, but they don't have the final answer. And what is the final answer? What your market thinks. So if you are having this eternal conversation, stop the eternal conversations and go talk to your customers. They have the answer because they are gonna buy your product. You have the idea, you can prototype, you know, but the ones that at the end are gonna buy your products are your customers. So you need to have enough information about your customers that when you start having a conversation with your team, it's clear, crystal clear, what you want to do with your prototype. Yeah, I want to change my prototype because I make 100 interview, and in the 100 interview, I got 80 people that told me that my prototype is better with a blue case than a black one. That's the kind of conversation that you need to have with your team. Colleague, a team player that say, I want to prototype a blue case for my new product because I think blue is beautiful. No. You cannot do the product your team think is nice. You need to do the product your customer think is nice, because your team is not gonna buy 1 million iPhones. It's the market. So you need to have enough information about your market and your customers during these meetings that what they think is not that important. So the decision making, in the decision making, is important to have diverse mindset and way of thinking, because you can go from one to other thing, but at the end, your product, it needs to be made with your customer feedback. That's the most important. So in resume, if you are having too long conversation with your team, it's because everybody's giving their own advice and their own way of thinking, and you are not going enough to see your customers. They have the answer, not you or your team. I cannot hear anything, sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I would give another. Does anyone have any other questions? You can type it in. Else we can. Okay. Sunny says, thank you for an insightful reply. I have one last question that is a little different, for one to have ideas and goals. So he is asking, it is different for one person to have ideas and goals or missions, but how does someone as an entrepreneur deal with setbacks as a firm with limited resources and boost morale of their team?
Well, that I think you need to choose your team very well. Sometimes it's better to have a small team that you engage from the beginning, that you know them very well and you know exactly what they want, and you are agree with what they think, than have a big team with a lot of people that you don't know them well. So that can be tricky. The compensation between a small team that you know very well and a big team but it's very diverse. I think at the beginning of a startup, at least the first 6 months or year, it's better if you have a core team that you know very well and you work very well with them, and then you start developing the rest of the team, and you let this core team find their own collaborators, because in the core team there's already different kind of people that think differently, but you understand each other very well. So if every person of the core team start finding other people, they're gonna be more empathic with the people they find. So they're gonna help you to deal with the issues they have with them. So it's like a very flat organization where the core team finds their own team and they grow like this, like cells. So every person of your core team will be like a guarantee of the others, and that's gonna make it more easily to deal with. Because if you are the CEO and you start hiring people by your own, then for you it's gonna be hard to deal with all these people. So make little teams like little cells. It's better. And then there's a very important thing that I'm learning now. It's new for me, but I think it's very useful. It's non-violent communication. if you want to search online. And it's very useful because that teaches you to, first of all, know what you really want for you, because sometimes we are like in a fight with someone, but we don't even know what we really want. So that helps you to know what you really want. And then that helps you to explain to the others what do you need and what do you want in a non-violent way. Because the most of the times when you have conflict in the company is because the communication is a bad communication. It's not because they are bad people or they think too differently. It's because we have all an ego that don't let us see that we are wrong or that we are speaking in a violent way. So I invite you to look at on internet a little bit more about this. Nonviolent communication is really helpful for all these conflicts in the companies and where you are working with someone. That really can help you to solve all these team issues.
We have just the last question we're going to take. So someone is asking how to ensure that the planning and strategy that I'm sharing with my client before the pre-launch of the product will be confidential and the client is loyal to me.
Okay, that's the slide that I show you to be confident. It's really a mindset. You need to be convinced that even if that your idea is not the first time someone have this idea, so that's the most important to know. All the startups that now are really success, someone already have this idea during a conversation or during a party. So the idea don't have too much value, honestly, because everybody can have this idea. The most important is the way you are developing the idea. So this is the most important thing that you have for you. And this is not easy to share with someone else. So you can show the prototype of the product, but you are not gonna tell them how do you work every day with your team to make it happen, you know? So for me, it's hard to copy an idea of someone else, because the most important is the way you develop the idea more than the idea. And when there are two technological products, it's important to don't show to your clients how it works. So the back end, you know, you can show them the idea you have, but you don't need to know, they don't need to know which technology you are using, which kind of programming you are using, how you are developing. So for example, if someone creates tomorrow the COVID vaccine, they are just gonna say, I'm creating the COVID vaccine. They are not gonna share all the details of the product that the vaccine has, you know? So you can share the idea of the product. You can share the prototype, the way this product works, but you don't need to show them the back end. You don't need to show them the details of how it works and how you are developing this, because that's not necessary to validate. If I buy an iPhone, I don't need to go to the factory and see how they are developing the iPhone, you know? It's like Tesla. He when he was starting, he say, I'm building a car that it's 100% electrical car that is gonna go very, very fast. You're interested on this or not? And rich people, they say, yes, of course, I'm really interested, because of course I want to be eco-friendly and I want to go really fast and have a luxury car, but that's impossible. Everybody told him, that's impossible. You'll never be able to build a luxury electrical car that go more than 100 kilometers per hour. And he start validate the need, the customer need, but he don't go and show to the customers the factory and the technology they were developing to have a fast electrical car. You don't need to show them how the engine of the car works. You just need to show them an electrical car that goes really fast. You understand me? So they won't be able to copy your idea.
Thank you so much, Anna, for giving us your time. And definitely, I'm sure the students took a lot of insight from your presentation, your answers as well. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I don't think we have any more questions right now. And a lot of people are saying thank you as well. So I'm sure from the student side and from engineer spaces side, thank you so much for taking out time for this. It was a very interesting session. Do you have any last words for the students before we end the meeting?
Yes, I just want to thank you all for being here, stay with us, and being that reactive with the questions. For me, it's always a pleasure to share all these insights with you. And a last thing that I think it's very, very important, it's don't be afraid of take risks and do the things the way you think it is. Because even if it's wrong, you're gonna learn of this mistake. And the second thing that I want to say is be convinced that you are amazing and you are doing a very, very good job in this program. You are all working hard to pass through this COVID crisis. We are all in a difficult time. We all are scared and we all don't know what is going to happen. But you are doing something. You are working with us in this program, and that's amazing. You decide to don't be afraid and do something nice, even if it's hard and even if it's not what you think that it's going to be. I think that's very courageous, and I want to encourage you to continue living your life like this. Continue working hard and being sure that you're doing a good job and that you are good enough for this. So congratulations all for taking the risk of be part of this program and continue learning. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have more questions or if you need help with something. You can find me in LinkedIn. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, everyone. Each one of you who was a part of this session today. Thank you for taking our time and attending the session as well. It's as important that students attend the session as much as a guest speaker comes and talks to you. So great having you all here for the session. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next Career Cafe session. Thank you so much, Anna.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.